That truce lasted for about 6 months, and then a photographer came and took pictures of him and Celine, and it was run on that night's programme. George went ballistic.
George Clooney was about to get tough. Coming up, the game turns nasty.
George Clooney spoke prematurely. He bit the hand that's been feeding him.
But George does everything to get back in favour with the paparazzi.
I've known reporters who have been personally invited, by George to stay at his house.
He'd taken long enough to get there, so when George Clooney finally became a movie star, he knew he had to work hard to stay there.
George Clooney sells because there is only one George Clooney, essentially, and he reminds you of those old kind of matinee idols.
He's a classic Cary Grant kind of leading man, terrific-looking guy in the prime of life.
He'll usually play ball with the press and appreciates freedom of speech. But when he was photographed unaware with his latest girlfriend, George turned on them in spectacular style.
There are certain areas of his life that he doesn't want you to delve into too much.
Releasing a statement, he said to Hard Copy and Entertainment Tonight, "So now we begin, officially. No interviews from this date on. Nothing on ER, nothing from One Fine Day, nothing from Batman and Robin, and nothing from DreamWorks' first film, The Peacemaker. These interviews will be reserved for all press but you. Maybe other actors will join me, maybe not. That doesn't matter. It's about doing what's right." With the Hollywood A-listers queuing up to support George in this latest move, it seemed that he was gaining the upper hand.
I don't think George Clooney has played the press game well at all, actually. I think he's made unmitigated disasters. He's taken the mickey out of the situation. Everyone knows his angle on the press. Everyone knows that he detests the press. The fact of the matter is, if the press didn't exist, he wouldn't have a job. And he certainly wouldn't be the superstar he is.
With the dust only just settling, George was hoping to move on and focus on publicising his latest movie, The Peacemaker. But then came an event that shocked the world and disturbed George so much that he became embroiled in yet another media row.
It all came to a head, actually, when Princess Diana died. When Princess Diana died, George called a press conference. And this was a pretty major thing, I think, for a big star to do. And he basically took on the National Enquirer, he took on Hard Copy, he took on every paparazzi-based program and organ in America and said, "Are you happy now? You have caused the death of the princess. You've got to be responsible for your actions. Stop doing it now. People are being hurt."
As I sit in front of my TV listening to tabloid journalists and editors dodging their own responsibility and placing the blame on a drunken driver or society or Princess Di, I now feel that the only fair thing that I can do is stand up and make one clear, concise statement. Stand up and ask this to the self-appointed spokesman, Stephen Kaz, the editor of the National Enquirer, and all other tabloids positioning themselves as innocents. Princess Di is dead. And who should we see about that? The driver of the car, the paparazzis, or the magazines and papers who purchase these pictures and make bounty hunters out of photographers?
Nobody could argue with the message that George was trying to convey. But the paparazzi press were beginning to tire of the increased outbursts.
George Clooney spoke prematurely. He bit the hand that's been feeding him. The whole premise of us and you being at this event tonight was for the God Almighty bottom line. It was for the sake of hyping a movie so that it does okay at the box office.
Are you going to make peace with the press here at the Peacemaker?
I haven't had any problem with the press. I believe in the press, and I've always believed in the press, and have never softened. I've from the very beginning, have stood standing up for journalism, which is something I believe. I don't stand up for people who create the news, people who cause accidents, people who cause situations that would never have existed if they weren't there to cause it and take pictures.